Dear Braeburn, sounds to me like Thunder Hooves and Silver Star ain't the only ones been hitting the Salt Lick on Tuesdays. Either that, or maybe you're sleeping on the job, cause that is one hootenanny of a dream. Don't get me wrong, I don't mean to make fun of you or nothing, but Trixie, I can't imagine that mayor apologizing for anything. Now the trouble part I can see. The trouble seems to follow her like a gray cloud. The last time she was in Ponyville, she caused a whole mess of it for us. Not just Twilight. I mean, sure, she apologized after the whole deal with the amulet, but just to Twilight, not to the rest of us. And seeing as how we received the brunt of her mistake, I'd say she more knows this one. Not that I ever expect she will. Oh, and, sorry to say, but it looks like Sweet Apple Acres won't be coming to the fair after all. We had an infestation of vampire fruit bats. And, well, you know all them horror stories Granny used to tell us about them? I kinda let that go to my head and cut a few corners in chasing them off. Big mistake. It wound up causing us more problems than making things any better. Fluttershy got the worst of it. We got it all worked out eventually, but we had to give up our fair entry. Sorry about that, but I promise I'll come down for a visit real soon to make up for it. Have I got some stories for you. I will say one thing though, that whole doctor story of yours got Granny up in a tizzy. She insisted that she made them, back during the settling days. I tried to tell her that it couldn't be the same pony, but she kept calling hogwash on me. I think her memory's starting to, you know. Still, there was one thing she said that sounded an awful lot like your story. She said she felt it was the doctor and his friends that saved him. Y'all have heard the story 1,000 times, I know. But the way she told it this time was different. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've heard her talk so clearly since before Apple Bloom started school. She always talked about what it was like before and after settling Ponyville. But this was the first time I've ever heard her talk about anything during the settling, other than zap apples. It was kind of spooky for one of Granny's stories. Supposedly, when they were just starting to build their homes, they kept hearing laughter from the forest, like a little filly. Then, at night, they would sometimes hear these weird sounds. Turns out, it weren't just the food shortage that made Granny start exploring the Everfree. She said that one of the times she went in, she saw a bunch of ponies with faces painted like some of Zikora's masks. They were hooting and hollering, wearing animal skins, and painting strange designs. One of the trees caught fire, so she ran off. I told her it was probably some kind of fever dream, since she was sick at the time, according to the story, but Granny insisted. You know, I always kind of figured that Granny just came up with some of these crazy routines she does around time for zap apples. But I don't know. These things she said she saw, and the things she does for the harvest sound mighty similar. The thing is, Granny said that after that, the Timberwolves started attacking every pony. They'd actually come out of the forest at night. I've had my fair share of run-ins with Timberwolves, and I've seen them come out of the forest once before. But not like that. A whole pack? I just can't imagine. Things don't leave the Everfree, not without a good reason. Kinda like that incident with those black vines not too long ago. The forest has its secrets, but it's got this kind of invisible barrier. That's why I had such a hard time believing it. But Granny was so serious. The thing is, it weren't long after that she said the doctor came. Probably just some wandering physician. He did take care of her cold after all. But Granny kept saying how funny he was. Like saying he could talk to wolves and traveling in some blue box. But after learning what was going on, he and his friend went off into the forest by themselves. This is where Granny's story started sounding kinda like yours, cause afterwards, Timberwolves stopped their blustering, and the forest kinda changed. It was still creepy and dangerous, but it didn't feel like it was trying to hurt any pony. Because before, she said it felt like the forest wanted to keep every pony out. She reckoned that, somehow, the doctor must have changed its mind. spookier than a hen house, don't it? Changing the mind of the forest? Well, that's Granny for you, and we love her for it. But don't go getting the ideas, you hear? Lay off the salt lick. We have enough canary-brained relatives as is. Oh, and if y'all ever see Trixie again, kindly tell her that if she ever sets hoof back in Ponyville, she and I are gonna have quite a long talk. And if she's any friend of Twice, then an apology for every pony else, too. So's for now. Take care of yourself, cousin. Sincerely, Applejack, Apple Blue, Big Mac, and Granny Smith.